Our first reader was born in Ohio, where she was raised on storytelling, magic, and family myths. She is a writer, mother, and future business owner. A former co-host of Tuesday Funk, and a graduate of the New School MFA in Creative Writing program. Her writing has appeared in Arch City Chronicle, Parent to Parent, Black Market Lit, and Best of Ohio Short Stories, Volumes 1 and 2. Please give a big hand for Sara Ross Witt.
Everybody. Thank you so much, Andrew and Ian. Always thank you for inviting me back. I love being here. Thanks to everybody for coming out. I really appreciate it, the support. So the past few times that I've read here, I've been reading from my YA novel, which is a little bit about magic and that sort of thing. But today I decided to do some micro, short stories that are letters, but also how-to guides. So I don't know, it's weird. At least that's the theme I'm trying to tell myself, that they're how-to guides. Maybe not. So the first one is called How to Feed Your Customers. Dear Ms. Pod, I am sorry that your experience at my restaurant Schulman's Diner last month was unsatisfactory. In your letter to the department, you make certain complaints that I would like to address. First, let me apologize for the delay in providing a table for you and your guest, Mr. Page. Our hostess was having an intimate moment with the line cook in the kitchen and thus failed to fulfill her job requirements. They have been sacked. The kitchen is being thoroughly cleaned. Second, I'm sorry the bartender ruined your drink order 3 times. What a dunce. In his defense, he's not a bartender. He is my brother and has fallen on hard times. He lost his previous job at the department, then his girlfriend, a cheating whore, cheated and hoarded up with her ex-boyfriend. It doesn't excuse his behavior when you return the Tom Collins he failed to make to your specifications by calling you an ungrateful bitch. Miss Pod, you are, most likely, not ungrateful or bitchy. That is why I comped your drinks. Third, I am sorry I accidentally and without premeditated intent killed your guest, Mr. Page. Our spunky little server, Beth, is rather dismissive of my affection. It hurts when she shows more interest in Taylor. And who is he? Just some barback who has grand designs on being a chef. As if. I can tell who has greatness in them. It's like a sixth sense. Though basically it's in my nose, so it's just my regular senses. And Taylor doesn't smell right. He smells stale. How does Beth smell? Like lavender and stardust. Not at all like my wife, Nan. Nan smells futzy. Nan is... Boabad? Sorry. I threw that whiskey bottle at Beth in a moment of jealous madness. And wasn't she fast? But not your guest. He was slow, unlucky. Of course, I comped your meals, too. Your meals are the heart of the complaint. We never, or almost never, serve people meat. Even though the department has a production and distribution, and it is especially necessary in these decaying times, Schulman's Diner is not licensed to serve it. Would I like to serve people meat if I could afford a license? Throw Beth, or Stale Taylor, or you in the people meat grinder? Yes, I would. You have made me so angry with your complaint. The department has shut us down, slapping yellow, unlawful to enter or operate stickers on the doors. I sit incarcerated on your accusations. Do you know what happens to people in prison, Miss Pod? It's the grinder, if guilty. You write they have found traces of people meat in the kitchen, and Beth and Taylor have come forward as witnesses. Well, you may have the law, Miss Pod, but you don't have heart. If you had one, you would know how difficult my life has been. Floating from job to job, being left for dead, old rotting Nan. Owning Schulman's Diner was the only hope left in my life. Please withdraw your accusations. In light of this mostly apologetic letter, and me not charging you for a lot of drinks and 2 very expensive and likely real meat, not people meat meals. I do hope you do the right thing here. Charlie Ronci, former owner, Schulman's Diner. So this next one is How to Confess. Dear Mrs. Ronci, I have read your letter a dozen times over the last 3 days. It was difficult to read. Harder still to put into this letter exactly why I did what I did. It began with you. Mr. Ronci was convicted of unlawfully selling people meat. You know his fate. and you reached out to me to purchase and reopen Shulman's Diner. I cannot change the past. If I could, I would have never set foot in Shulman's, because once I did, things went from bad to worse. The second bit of bad luck was when I hired the hostesses. The first girl slipped on the floor. We didn't expect a ranch dressing to kill someone. Then my ex-wife covered some shifts and fell in with the bartender. We lost him to a hit and run. As you know, I've already provided my alibi for that night. The thing you have to understand is that people speed through here. The hostess after my wife was unprotected, which I guess is my fault. I should have paid for her documents, declared her to the department, but money was tight. I was dipping into the till to buy my ex-wife's silence. The department removed that hostess so fast, it was like she never existed. Then it affected our customers. Mr. Fox, our steady, died. He practically lived at the corner of the bar from open till close. The wood worn where he rested his arms as he held a beer in one hand and a whiskey chaser in the other had warned Fox about his heart. Yet he still took our next hostess back to his apartment. Who ties up a 75-year-old man for bondage play, especially with the department's order against immoral behavior? Well, it's goodbye to her and Mr. Fox. We're screwed, and customers were frightened away again. Then the new hostess, Sally. She was the first to mention a curse. I think it was the damn cat that tipped her off. I couldn't get it to leave or die. She said cats are gateways to souls. That's how she knew all about the deaths. I figured she was nuts. See, the department had banned all talk of souls. It's how we justify the use of people meat. Still, once crazy gets in, it can be hard to get out. It rattles around your brain and starts to make sense. The first thing she did was salt purification. Sally dumped a lot of salt on the ground while chanting some bullshit. Customers showed up and kept showing up, and soon we were overflowing with customers. I loved it. Loved it too much. When checking in on the bar, I would take on different personas with cute-only customers. I told Jill I used to be Coast Guard Search and Rescue, even though I've never seen water bigger than a swimming pool. Told another I was nursing an injury that stunted my musical career. Let's not call that lying. If I lived another life, I might have done those things. But right as it got good at Shulman's, the best it'd ever been, a brick wall at the back of the diner buckled and collapsed. It killed our guy Storm and injured many others. It was out of control. My insurance was shit nothing, the lawsuits piling up, my ex-wife's hush money, and Julie telling me she's pregnant and expects support on a coastie salary. With all that weight upon me, I panicked. It was insanity. There's blood on your hands too, I said to Sally. You haven't lifted the curse. She pointed to the partially broken wall. That's just poor support. But in my dark moment, as I stared at her across the naked bar, with her arms crossed and her face hard, I knew I needed magic. Big magic. Too many souls hanging around, I said. I grabbed the whiskey bottles from behind the bar and poured it all, covering the counter with glasses of amber liquid. It was just the two of us, and it was late. I toasted her, and part of what I said was sincere. You saved Shulman's once, Sally. I know you'll do it again. I oozed charm. After all, I was a bar owner, a coastie, a musician. I was anything I wanted to be, and right then, I wanted to be an exorcist, free of the demons. Sally smiled and downed drink after drink quickly. She drank more than me, of that I made sure. Still, the rest is a blur. 1 minute she was drinking, giggling like a young woman, her hard face relaxed, her speech slurred. The next she was sleeping, a curled cat into a pocket of the broken wall, and I was busy with masonry. Did she walk there? Did I carry her? Bludgeon her? Of that, I can't be certain. Of only this, I am certain. As the wall began to grow, it looked good, and I was shocked by my dormant talent for bricklaying. Though there was no moonlight, the wall was shining. After I patched Sally into the wall, I was so thankful for her sacrifice. The magic was real. I closed the bar for a month. The damn cat never returned. And when we reopened, we opened big. So the last one, and this is how to fix the past. Okay. Time travel is dangerous. At 10 years old, when little Sheila chases you, then strikes you with your red wiffle ball bat in the basement of the first house you ever remember, because you were lying naked in the laundry room, keeping the chill off by snuggling into a pile of dirty laundry as you waited for Sheila to doctor you, and she shrieks at the sight of you undressed, your little Mr. Pee-Pee, a fat thumb sitting between your legs. Remember, this is the most fun you will ever have naked. In the 6th grade, when Derek punches you, his meaty fist connecting first with bone beneath your eye, bruising, then with your nose, bloodied and broken, for giving a Valentine to Amber, his girlfriend, for all of 2 minutes, he calls you a fat, smelly blob. Know this, it's true. I suggest a regimen that includes an athletic activity, deodorant, and less time in your cat piss basement. When you smell better, and you will because you have taken on all of the household chores by the age of 16 since Mom confined herself to bed after Dad disappeared and Joe went to jail, you wonder if, all this time, Mom was washing your clothes in Mitten's urine. Shrug it off because you, sir, tried out for your high school varsity soccer team. A group of students gathered to watch and jeer at you. You're still Blobby Brian to them. Tell yourself you can do this, and you will. Because for the last 4 years, you have done nothing but practice, kicking the ball around your yard and against the house, at least until Dad, in a hazy cloud of Pall Mall cigarettes, yelled that you were making Mom crazy. Well, Mom was already crazy, so you kept at it until Dad chased you with his belt. It was as if the ball is magnetized to your feet. You go nowhere without it, and on the field, you sense its location more than you see it. Revel in the moment when you make the team. It will be the last time you experience true joy without the burden of guilt, responsibility, or expectation. Being captain of the state championship soccer team, high school soccer team, has 0 perks because you live in Ohio. Ohioans care about football and no other sport. They did not realize that when your foot touched the ball to score the winning goal, that you had a moment of superhuman ability. Only your team appreciated your once-in-a-lifetime display of power. What did you expect? Soccer does not have cheerleaders. Boy wonder you languish as a virgin for 5 more years. Accept your protracted virginity in the face of all your peers rehashing their conquest in great detail. At 19 years old, teenage damaged dream Sheila gets knocked up after drunken college hookup. What would you do with a baby when you have Mom and occasionally Joe to look after anyway? Still, feel guilty because bat-wielding Sheila has a shitty life that ends badly. Do not be alarmed when you ask your first girlfriend Jenny if she wants to have sex and her response is to shrug her assent. Jenny has done it before. You will benefit from her experience. Enjoy sex with Spunky Jen. And on a cold October night when you have her in your arms and you're pinning her to the bed with your dick, her legs wrapped around your calves, and you feel yourself sliding toward orgasm, and she yells out Luke instead of Brian, it's okay with me if you lose your erection. Ask her, who is Luke? Yell, because she is cheating. Throw her out. That urge to be mean is the dark spot you have been nurturing for a long time, since Sheila and her bat, Mom and her illness, Dad, Joe, the anger unfurling like a sail caught in a thrusting wind provides the excuse you need to rage around the house. Stomp to Mom's room, slam open the door, and the thoughts you have about smothering her with a pillow, not because she is to blame for Ginny, but because she is to blame for everything, leaks out of you. Look at her. She is bone. There is less delusion in her now. Sometimes you see in her eyes a flicker of awareness in the way the color of them recedes, and you know she is trapped more than you. Crawl back into your bed, stripped of its sheets. They had Ginny's smell. Tuck yourself into yourself and cry. Ginny creates a wound in you that turns you into 2 people, Brian from before and Brian from the future. Both feel dumb and lost, but pull yourself together. You have a funeral to attend. Stare across the ground's gaping hole. Look past the glittering silver coffin. Drown out the pastor's voice and focus upon little Rebecca, Sheila's 9-year-old daughter, standing with her hand in the brutal grip of her father. She is Sheila's doppelganger, and you are reminded of your basement, Sheila chasing you like a warrior princess. This makes you smile. You wanted Sheila to doctor you because you loved her. Realize now that you should have doctored her, because she had the same doomed expression as her daughter. You feel disappointment reading this. You had inflated expectations of it being like a movie, of life being like a movie, full of action, drama, romance, and maybe even a little science fiction, your heroic moment thwarting an alien invasion. Trust me, this version is better than the first, and the second. You saved yourself. It's what we wanted. It's too late to be saving anyone else, buddy. Besides, no one's ever heard of life-giving third chances. But this next time you go back, it isn't for you. Hurry. Take 3 steps backwards and circle the coffin 5 times. Look down at your foot. Grab the length of brown yarn lying against your shoe. It will lead you to where you want to go, but you cannot let go and you cannot look back. Go forward. Thank you.